CEO of Sentula Mining. He's going to take us through some of their operations.
Thanks, Brian, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's back to the coalface now. Just moving through the standard disclaimer. Sentula, as you will all know and probably have read in the press for all the wrong reasons, has a very long history in mining services provision, some 40 years. But it was really only sort of in the mid-90s that Sentula started to diversify its service provision into various other types of services that it provided, as well as become a little bit more in control of its own destiny and start looking at investment in coal assets. And that's really where I want to focus the presentation for tonight. From a strategic point of view, our vision is to concentrate on the African continent and to provide services across the continent, but at the same time to utilize those services to develop and nurture the coal portfolio and obviously unlock the value that exists in that portfolio. So the company is structured pretty much on those lines, a foot in two camps, proprietary ownership of coal mines as well as the provision of services to other parties. We replicate that on an offshore basis through Mauritius, dealing with the coal mining and obviously mining services divisions. Just a snapshot of the financial review for the period ending 30 September 2011. And I think noteworthy is that revenue was up on the comparative prior period by about 10% in what has been quite a difficult environment. But I think more concerning, and obviously what we have to work on, is the fact that at our TNAV at just less than R4 approximates to a 50% discount currently to share price of just over R2. And that's really attributable to the fact that a lot of the returns in some parts of our business are either suboptimal or even negative, and that's predominantly idle yellow metal in our Megacube subsidiary, and of course our coal assets, which approximate about 500 million rands worth of value on our balance sheet and are contributing less than 1% of the company's revenue. So that's really where the value unlock lies for us at this stage. So moving on to what those coal investments are, I think the first question is why coal? You know, we provide services to many other companies across the mineral spectrum, but in essence, 3/4 of our earnings are from coal, so we understand it, we understand the cost structures, we understand what makes a good project. I think at exactly the same time, what we've got is a scenario where if you look at the domestic side of coal, there's growth from a capacity point of view in the TFR, or the Richards Bay Coal Terminal, and from that perspective, I think we see an opportunity to play in that space. Eskom, exactly the same. Somebody's got to provide the coal to deliver into their 2% growth aspirations, and at the same time, if you look at the little red line on the second graph there's about a 40 million ton deficit just in the next 4 to 5 years, which is the space that we want to play in. Not forgetting the metallurgical coal side of things, coking coal imports, and this is specifically from a Chinese perspective, although you've seen a bit of a plateau of late, the graph is certainly in the right direction. So from a Sentula coal perspective, we really have coal assets in three categories: mining, and the particular asset in that is the Nkomati anthracite, which is currently on care and maintenance. Near development, which we see being able to bring into production over the next 2 years, and of course exploration. So if we look at just the Nkomati mine, it's an anthracite operation. Anthracite's used locally as a blend coke product, predominantly in the ferrochrome smelters. It's a large resource base from an anthracite point of view, open cast and underground, and we have a beneficiation plant on site that can handle about 450,000 tons per annum of feed. The other operations or the exploration prospects within South Africa are the Bankfontein and Skoongesig prospects, New Ermelo and Delmas respectively. Although relatively small in resource size of about 10 million tons each, they have a low stripping ratio, open cast, and they will provide thermal coal to export and to Eskom. And both those projects could supply about 1.2 million tons per annum of an Eskom product and just over 700,000 tons of a beneficiated export type quality product. And the third prospecting area that we have within South Africa is what we call our Mabapa project. It's a small coking coal project, prospect up in the northern Limpopo province, which will produce both potential coke and thermal coal. The current open cast resource of just over 15 million tons is really quite small, and we're looking to obviously expand that with neighboring properties. If we take the Nkomati anthracite operation, and not dissimilar to some of the challenges that John mentioned earlier from a coal perspective, we've endured exactly the same issues. This mine was in operation up until May last year. We suspended operations pending the award of an integrated water use license, and as that is progressing fairly well, we expect to be back in operation on this mine by August of this year. The two other near development prospects, as I've mentioned, the Skoolgesogte and Bankfontein properties in South Africa. But probably what is quite exciting for us is the Ndongo project in Zambia, where we have a 25% stake. This has already been licensed from a small-scale mining perspective. The EIA has been completed and accepted, and now we're going through the process of relocating the two villages that are on the initial mining area. And I think, again, we are encouraged by the pretty robust demand for coal that exists in a country like Zambia. Other more blue sky type projects, I've talked about the Mabapa project, and there, until we can bulk up the prospect a bit further, exploration remains in abeyance. But what is exciting for us is our 25% stake in the Asenjo project in Botswana. We've progressed the feasibility study work on at least two of the four licenses that we have there. But what is key to any project in Botswana, although these are large and world-class type deposits, is infrastructure in unlocking the value that exists in those prospects. And here I think we're encouraged by the talk and the way that the two railway line and port facilities are progressing, namely the Trans-Kalahari railway line, which has been developed or under the auspices of the Botswana and Namibia governments. They've received numerous expressions of interest to construct and operate that. That'll take coal out to the west coast. And then, of course, there's been a lot of talk about a private consortium looking to build and operate the Tekna-Benin rail link through the southern part of Zimbabwe and into the southern Mozambique coast. And that obviously is exciting from the value of these prospects point of view. So I think where does it put Sentula? We've worked very hard to both strengthen up our balance sheet and improve the liquidity in the company, and that gives us the opportunity now to progress with the development of these prospects. And it also gives us a great opportunity to utilize some of the resources that exist within the mining services part of our business. We also have an opportunity because of our big exploration drilling company, Geosearch, and that gives us a great opportunity to take equity in projects, especially where new greenfields prospects have been identified. And then I think thirdly, we do have a track record of identifying prospects and bringing value to them. So I think, as our name implies, we remain very bullish about the future. Thank you.
Good evening,